evening.
Hey there.
Appreciate y'all's patience. Sorry about this.
Absolutely, man.
Rain. All the detectives are at the hospital, so we had to call them on the phone. Appreciate it. You get wet, I gotta get wet. Appreciate it, sir. Put my mic up so you don't have to get. Good old clean. Thank you, sir.
Pretty terrible.
6. Thank you, man. Thank you. What's up, Jeff?
How you doing, man?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good. Can't complain.
Yeah, if y'all gotta get wet, I gotta get wet. So I'm not gonna let y'all get wet alone. Howard. Hey there, bud. Happy New Year. Let's see.
One more.
One more? Okay, one more, Mike?
Yeah.
Take your time.
Hey, Jeff, is it possible you can make us light a little water for me? How about now? That good?
Thank you, ma'am.
That's good? Maybe more for me.
Let's do this.
Thank you. Is that good? Yes, sir. All right.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'll just step to the side to get these adjusted. Turn this phone off. Mic check 1, 2, 3. Sound good for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty. Hey, what's going on, James? You good, James?
Yeah, I'm
All right, good. Hello, everyone. I'm Officer Truman Fitzgerald with the Birmingham Police Department's Public Information Division. And right now, our patrol officers and detectives are working a shooting investigation where a 12-year-old child was shot. At around 6:30 p.m., the Birmingham 911 Communications Division began receiving multiple shot spotter alerts in the 8300 block of Division Avenue. Our officers were updated that a child was shot in the 8300 block of First Avenue South, which is 1 block south from here. We had patrol officers respond to Division Avenue and First Avenue South. Officers arrived on Division Avenue, and that is when they located shell casings in the roadway. We had an officer arrive on First Avenue South, and that is when he located a 12-year-old boy who had been shot. Birmingham Fire and Rescue personnel arrived on the scene and rushed the 12-year-old child to Children's Hospital, where he remains hospitalized with life-threatening injuries. The preliminary investigation has revealed that we believe some sort of drive-by shooting took place here in the 8300 block of Division Avenue, and the rounds may have traveled on First Avenue South and hit this 12-year-old child who was completely innocent. Even the 12-year-old's house was not even the intended target of this shooting. So we have no one in custody, and just to wrap all this together, there was a shooting in the 8300 block of Division Avenue. Those individuals missed who they were shooting at, and they shot a 12-year-old child instead.
Talk about how that makes you feel. A completely innocent 12-year-old caught in a drive-by.
It's frustrating because a house is supposed to be our children's safe place. They're supposed to be their castle where they feel the safest. And what frustrates us even more is when I heard this call go out that a 12-year-old child was shot, I immediately thought back to 12-year-old Adriana Pearson, who was shot and killed. She was the exact same age. She was 12 years old. She was in her house. She was shot. She was completely innocent, and she lost her life. And here we fast forward, a short time later, a few years, and we have a 12-year-old child that was in his house where he should feel safe, and he's struck by gunfire that was not intended for him nor his house. And we're just thankful that he still has a fighting chance.
So the little boy, he was inside of his house?
Yes, ma'am. He was inside of his house when he was struck by gunfire. And just to give you an idea of how far that bullet traveled, we're a city block away from the young child's house. And these rounds were fired shortly behind me, and they traveled a block away into about 2 to 3 walls, our patrol officer said, and hit this 12-year-old child.
So this is the scene of the shooting, and the house is elsewhere.
Yes, ma'am. The house is southbound to the left of us.
There's a lot of evidence markers behind you. Do you know how many rounds were fired?
Upwards to 20 were fired. So 20 rounds are fired at someone or something on Division Avenue, completely missed who they were trying to shoot at, and they shot a 12-year-old child instead.
So you found casings at both Division Avenue and First Avenue South, or just Division?
Just here, sir. The only shell casings are in the 8300 block of Division Avenue, and we're extremely thankful that we have ShotSpotter, because ShotSpotter led us directly to Division Avenue, which is the site of the shooting.
So you have a description of the vehicle?
Not yet. We hope to tap into some resources within the community and elsewhere and really try to pin down who did this, because as we mentioned before, completely innocent person was struck by gunfire, and he's at Children's Hospital fighting for his life.
So he was found in a home on Division Avenue, right?
Yes, ma'am.
This home right here, do they believe that the bullets traveled through this home into...
Some rounds may have traveled through this home, and from everything that I've gathered, we have had some issues at a house on Division Avenue, and we think that may be the intended target. So it's a wake-up call that what we involve ourselves in as community members, they might not affect us. They might affect someone completely innocent. And here you have some individuals that chose to shoot at a house or at someone near a house, completely missed that person or house, and hit a 12-year-old child instead.
If children can be shot inside their homes, how do we prevent this from happening to our kids?
First and foremost, we have to step up. We were extremely fortunate and thankful going back to the 12-year-old that I mentioned before, little Minnie, when she was shot. We were able to tap into the community, and they spoke up, and we were able to take 2 individuals off the street in that homicide investigation. Until we step up as a community and show the individuals that are responsible for this that they can't get away from it, we're going to continue to see this, because people feel emboldened enough to shoot into a house on a Friday night where they know people are going to be inside. And the reoccurring theme that we see in our city is oftentimes they completely miss who they're intended to shoot at and hit an innocent person.
Any estimate on how many rounds were fired?
Yes, sir. About 20 rounds were fired. That's how many were registered on our ShotSpotter. And there's multiple shell casings in the roadway.
And to be clear, no one else, there's no other victims right now, or?
No, sir. No other victims except for that 12-year-old child.
And the rounds were fired on this street and the child was shot over, or vice versa?
The rounds were fired on this street, and the child was shot southbound about a block away on First Avenue South. Yes, sir.
I know this 12-year-old child was completely innocent, but it seems like we're hearing more and more about children being shot and children doing the shooting. Why is that?
It just shows you the state of our society right now, and we have such a gun-happy culture, not just here in Alabama, all across our nation. That's the first go-to when we have a disagreement. That's the first go-to when we have a conflict, is to pick up a gun and fire rounds. And as we have seen, not just here in Birmingham, but across our nation, it's oftentimes those completely innocent victims that are struck by that gunfire.
On Christmas Eve, when the other child was shot, you had mentioned that the police department and the mayor's office were going to get together to try and put an end to this. Has a meeting been set, or has anything been put in motion for that yet?
We are in talks with the mayor's office, and we hope to roll something out, within a short amount of time. But the message is still always the same. We have to have help from the community. Homicides, aggravated assaults are issues that the Birmingham Police Department cannot police their way out of. We have to have a culture change. We have to have a mindset change. And until we as a community step up to the individuals that are committing these crimes, they're going to feel the strength to continue to do them. As we've seen so many times in our community, individuals go out and they repeat and repeat and repeat the offenses that they're committing in our communities.
Can you just speak to the fact that no matter, a parent has their child at home, they don't, but even in their home, they're not able to protect their child?
There's no worse fear as a parent than not being able to protect your child. And this incident was no fault to that parent alone. These were individuals that made a decision to shoot at a house or at a person and hit a completely innocent child. But you can just imagine how those parents feel when they're, entrusted to keep their child safe, which they did. It's not their fault. And their 12-year-old child is now at hospital because someone chose to shoot at a house a block away.
We're just in the first week of January. How many shootings have we seen in Birmingham just this week?
Well, we're thankful that we've not lost any community members. And it's sad we have to celebrate that in Birmingham, but we have had years where the clock strikes midnight and you have people shot and you have homicides. We're thankful to go, this far into the year and we've not lost a community member. And I don't say that lightly. And we just hope that we stop seeing reoccurring themes. As I mentioned before, a 12-year-old boy was shot tonight. I immediately think of Adriana Pearson, Minnie. She was shot a few years before. Same scenario, same exact fact pattern. It's like we're not learning from previous mistakes and getting better as a community.
Is this the targeted, this house right here, is this the target of the shooting?
Yes, sir. We believe this house around here is the target of the shooting. And from speaking to my patrol officers, this house has caused this neighborhood problems for some time now. So we have to have that accountability in us as a community when we have houses like this on our block that are leading to innocent people being struck by gunfire. We have to stand up to them. So our officers are going to do everything they can to, get this problem solved.
What does that mean, though? Does that mean more patrol over here? What does that mean?
We're thankful that we have a city attorney's office that has their own abatement program. If you have a house and your house continues to get shot into, if you have a house and you're continuing to add to the violence in our city, we have a powerful city attorney's office that has shown they're going to do everything they can, even on the civil side, to get you out of these communities.
Can you say who this house belongs to, and was anyone home when the shooting happened?
We believe that people were home. We would never call out a homeowner publicly, but we're still going to speak up that it's these individual problems that are leading to our children being shot. It's these individual problems in houses that even led to Adriana Pearson losing her life. And it's our job as a police department to speak up for the victims who can't speak for themselves.
So you did say they were home when this happened?
This was an occupied house. All right, any more questions? Anyone has additional questions, please feel free to email us and we'll do everything we can.
Like which room in the house he was in when he was shot? Was he in his room?
We normally don't point that out just to protect the investigation, but let's just add the fact that a 12-year-old is at home on a Friday night where he should feel the safest, and he gets shot by rounds meant for a completely different person. So appreciate that, sir.
Have detectives talked to you about just their interactions with, the young boy's family, like what that was like?
Well, right now everybody jumped in the car and rushed to Children's Hospital. And you see that, oftentimes from the family immediately, their main concern is the health of their child. So Birmingham Fire drove him to Children's. However, the parents, of course, they're going to rush in their personal vehicles and go to Children's Hospital. So go ahead. Yes.
The people of this house cooperating with police?
Let us hold on to that. In the past, we have had some issues. However, again, like I said, we're going to speak up about them because we've seen it too many times where you might have a problem house on a block that leads to community members living in fear from incidents like this happening. And we're not going to take it in 2024. So appreciate y'all so much. Oh.
If you get some.